500. 400. 300. 100 above. 200. Minimum. 100.
Straight down the river.
50. 40. 30. 20. Retard. 9.
Good afternoon. Welcome to the show. Thanks for signing in today. I've got a very interesting guest for you today. Charl Schwartzel is the 2011 US Masters and multiple PGA European Sunshine and Asian Tour winner. He is also a pilot, fixed wing and helicopters, both in South Africa and in the United States, and busy doing his commercial pilot's license right now. We're going to get into the weeds of being a professional sportsman and how that relates to flying, so stay with me and enjoy the show. This episode is proudly brought to you by Optimum. Optimum has the expertise to guide you through investment, tax, retirement and estate planning with a solution tailored to your individual needs. Our objective is to provide you with an optimum solution to protect your wealth. Optimum has expertise in medical aid, legal services, asset finance, short-term insurance, as well as specialized services in commercial, marine, aviation, and personal liability. Don't choose the average, choose Optimum. Optimum Financial Services Group is an authorized financial services provider. Well, my name is Alex McPhail, and this is High Performance Teams. Please stick with me. Good afternoon, well, morning to you, Charl. How are you in Florida today?
Yeah, thanks. I'm very good. Thanks for having me on the show.
Oh, nice. A nice little warm fireplace. I'm telling you, it's a bit chilly here in the mornings in Pretoria at the moment. I could do with a fireplace myself. Tell me, Charl, what's happening in your side of the world? Is there movement? Are you playing golf? Are you getting out and about?
Yeah, we've been fortunate enough for golf courses to start opening about a week ago, mostly just for members. You know, you're not allowed to take guests, but it helps me. At least I can get out and start making some swings, and you know, so it's 6 or 7 weeks of sitting at home is a long time without swinging golf club. So I'm very, very happy to get moving.
Okay, cool. We're going to get into all the nitty gritty of the details, but let's just back up a little bit. So go back to sort of high school and your childhood growing up. Your father's a golfer, your brother's also a golfer, your father's also a pilot, so you've got these great influences in your life. Tell me a bit about your high school days and finding out that there's a time where you start giving your father tips at golf, and golf is a thing for you and you could make a career out of this thing. When is that moment?
Well, I don't know if it was an exact moment, but you know, it gradually builds up into that moment. But my dad, you know, like you said, he's a big part of my life. He'd play, you know, with the flying. He used to fly at 210, and I remember clearly always sitting in the front as a youngster, and he sold the plane in '94, so I didn't fly for a very long time. But 2006, when I was 22, I flew with a guy in a Cessna caravan actually, and I got to sit in the front, and the bug bit me, and I went on to go do my license, and I've enjoyed my flying career ever since. And the golf was the same. My dad was a very avid golfer, much more than flying. And so, he taught me to play the game. I was fortunate enough to grow up in a very easy golf club down in Vereeniging called Makofle. Some clubs in Johannesburg at that time when I started playing golf was not always easy for youngsters to play, but these guys allowed me to play with them, and I basically did that from the age of 4. I was 4 years old. 4 years old when I moved to Vereeniging, to the farm where I lived, and I went to school at Vereeniging Hoërskool and a little primary school called Denazel. And it's golf. Golf was always my number one sport. I did all the sports, and I was pretty good at all the sports too. But golf somehow stuck out. Vereeniging Hoërskool didn't have golf as a school sport, but the headmaster allowed me. To sometimes leave school early and go and play at Makofle, which was very nice of him. I enjoyed that a lot.
Yeah, it's not all schools offer that kind of a sport, but so you get stuck in with the golf, and it starts becoming more and more serious, and you get very good at it. And at what point do you realize that you could end up on the PGA Tour? This could be the main deal here.
Well, I had a very good amateur career. I won a lot of amateur tournaments at a young age. From about 14 years old. And then when I was 17, I went to England and I went to India, and I won the Indian Amateur. At 18, I went to England, and me and Louis Westhuizen and 2 friends of ours, we did a 6-week trip there to play all the big tournaments. Louis won the Irish Amateur, and I won the English Amateur, which is quite prestigious tournaments in the amateur game. So we came back, and we decided I was going to go to tour school in Europe, which you got to go through 3 stages to do, and I managed to do that. So I was actually the second youngest to ever get my European tour card, so I guess the answer to the question is from about 17, 18 years of age, when I was starting to win bigger tournaments outside of South Africa, I realized that there's potentially a career to be made in this.
Okay, well, it sounds like an exciting time, and winning these tournaments now outside of South Africa, it gives you that extra boost. Somehow we feel like winning at home is a good thing, but if I could win overseas, then I'm really doing well. Okay, so now you establish yourself on this the European tour. You get involved in the PGA Tour, and let's fast forward a little bit to the time. Then now you are a pro in the States, and you've done the Masters in 2010. 2011 comes around, and it's your opportunity here. You're not in the Rory McIlroy's in the lead going into the final round. And you come in and just have a storming finish. So I want to just ask you a few questions about that. So firstly, you've negotiated well. It's a tough stage in the course. You've finished strongly, but I also want to know about the difference being just back of the pace and going into that final day versus being the person in the front holding the lions at bay, as it were. So tell us through your feelings and your thoughts on that day, taking the green jacket on the 2011 Masters.
Well, I mean, to be honest, I took a lot of feedback off the Joburg Open I won in about 2 months earlier. I think it was in January. And the reason I say that is the Joburg Open I won, I actually played probably the worst golf I've ever played to win a golf tournament. Yeah, not the worst I've ever played, but to win.
Sure.
And what that meant was it was a mental, had to be mentally very tough to win the Johannesburg Open. And I took a lot of that mental toughness into Augusta, and I used that, which only a couple of months earlier worked out really well for me. So I was high in confidence, and I believed in the fact that I could, if I stay mentally strong and focus on what I'm doing, it'd be a good chance that the outcome could be in my favor. The fact that I was 4 shots back, I've won from four shots back before, so I know on a big stage like that, 4 shots is not a lot. It's not a lot. If you normally get off to a good start, it equals out very, very early on, which in that case on that Sunday it did. We were all square after the first 3 holes. So then it became a head-on-head game, and that's where I think, with that win in Johannesburg helped me so much, just to be mentally in the right frame of mind and persevere and push through.
Okay, now when I chatted the other day, we talked about a couple of things, and what I want to bring in here is this idea of being the BMT, being strong. So you've gathered a nice mental energy from the win earlier. You bring it into it, but what are the feelings that go through you when you know you're playing well? Like on that final day, you got off to a good start, etc. How are you feeling when you're playing good golf? Are there things that you can relate to, knowing that this is a good position? Related to flying, you're coming in on final approach, and when you are in sync with your airplane, you're scanning the instruments and nothing's changing, but you just have this sense that the rate of descent is just going down a little bit, and if you check a moment later, the instrument correlates. So you just have that sense that you almost won with the airplane. I'm sure you felt that in the aircraft too. What are those things that you feel on the golf course, knowing that you're in sync with today's game?
Yeah, it's when things are organized and you set up properly that you're comfortable. It goes about comfortable. So when I'm playing well, like specifically that week of Augusta, I'm actually less stressed than when I am when my ducks are not in a row. When I feel like something's off in my game. Then you get sort of sidetracked, and you get actually a little bit panicky, where a week like that, I was very calm the whole week. I felt like I was playing so well, and it's different to the weeks where we're trying to get a good finish, and everything was in place. My game was so good. I knew where the ball was going. I was putting well. I was, mental state was good. And I suppose you could, put it down to, like you said, an approach where everything is set up properly. If you haven't set things up properly, you also start getting panic. Where's this? What have I done wrong? Or you start looking around, and you're not as comfortable.
Okay, you've mentioned this that phrase before as well, being organized. So I wanted to zoom in a little bit on this being organized thing. So high performers consistently deliver on the greatest stages out there, and they do it over and over. And one of the things that you bring out is being organized. Is being organized something that you just inherently have? Is it something that you can hone and build and create, or is it? Can you hear me, Charl? You there?
Sorry, my headset just went off.
Oh dear. Can you still hear? All right. Might you just get that fixed up? I was just getting his headset sorted out there. Hang on a second, folks. Can you hear me, Charl? Testing 1, 2.
Yeah.
Okay.
Come back.
All right. All right. So what I was asking you is this phrase that you've discussed before as well is being organized. Is being organized something that you are born with? Is it innate? Or is it an attribute that you can hone and develop and get better at? How do you go about being better organized?
Preparation. For us, it's all about preparation to get organized. For example, say I'm starting in 4 weeks' time now, and I'm slowly starting to prepare already for when the first tournament comes in 4 weeks' time. So preparing is, and then it's all aspects. It's to do. I'll start now working on my body, getting flexibility, strength. Slowly work on nutrition, not too much, but I'll start. You start looking at what you're eating, and then you'll start working yourself into your game and start looking for things that you feel like you need to work on, weaknesses, and so that by the time you start in 4 weeks' time, I feel like there's no flaws, and you with that comes comfort, which again is a big thing to perform at a high level. Is if you're comfortable and confident at what you're going to do, the outcome is normally better than if you're not.
Yeah, sure. Okay, now so let's then take this period and going through the weeks ahead now. So preparation. So what is a typical day in the life of Charl Schwartzel, professional golfer? Right now we've come up for a long phase of the sort of lockdown and restriction, but you've also come off an injury, which we can maybe this is a good point to bring it up. So this injury phase of your life, in fact, let's wait with the injury. What is a typical day for you in the tournament? So in 4 weeks' time, the show's on the road again, and it's week in, week out. You got to do stuff. You wake up in the morning. What is your exercise, your breakfast, your family time, your cardio versus weights, technique, your briefing with your team? What does a typical day look like for you when the tournament's up and running?
Okay, let's take a afternoon tea time, like a 12 o'clock tea time. Typically try and get a good sleep. For me, I need at least 8 hours of sleep. Otherwise, I don't feel too good. But so a good sleep, wake up, go have a breakfast at whatever time. So I wake up at 7, go have breakfast. I try and get to the golf course no later than 2 hours before my tea time.
Okay.
But with the afternoon tea time, I'd normally around 8 o'clock, I'd go to the gym. Not to exercise weights, but to more get things going. So walk on a treadmill. I'll do very light exercises. I mean, if I've got a specific routine that I follow to activate certain muscles for the golf swing and a stretching routine. So that'll take me 30 minutes or so, and go to the course 2 hours before, get my physio to look at aligning my body up properly, and go start hitting balls in about an hour and 15 before. I'll start off with putting for about 15 minutes. I'll go to chipping for another 10 minutes or so, and then go hit balls, and I'll come back to putting. And that pretty much will get me going for the day, to play. And then afterwards, depending on how it went and what time we finish, but I'm normally going to hit another couple of balls, but more of we call it a warm down.
Okay.
Because what happens is your adrenaline on the course, you start hitting the ball harder and harder, which is fine. But if you don't tone it down afterwards and slow things down, by the time Sunday comes, you're starting to swing the club too fast, and you start losing sync with the club and your body. So it's about just maintaining that consistency. So hit balls for about 20 minutes afterwards, and normally another physio session, or it takes a long time. It takes a good 9 hours, 10 hours that goes into a tournament round.
Okay, sounds like a busy day. And is that so? That'll be a Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. And what does your sort of Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday look like before that? Are you keeping it low key? Are you Are you ramping it up? Are you off completely on a Monday, or how does your sort of down days, as it work?
Again, major weeks we tend to get there on a Sunday night before. So then Monday, you'll play Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday practice rounds. But I try and do like 9 holes, 18 holes, and 9 holes. So I can see each hole at least twice. And that way I don't burn too much energy before we start. And again, the same routine would apply, with breakfast, warming up in the gym, just going to check out with the physio if everything's lined up. Because the thing is, if I don't do that with the physio part of it, that's how you create injuries.
Sure.
We swing the club at such a high speed that there's a lot of force that gets put on your back and your wrists, and as I found out with mine, I got lazy with it, and there it was. I got an injury, so that was a good wake-up call for me to be more diligent.
I know now you're back into the full swing now after your injury, but talk us through this kind of the setback moment. So you're obviously dealing with a bit of pain, and at some point you decide it's time to call it. How do you know that? How do you know how long you're going to be out, or what is the sort of the plan? I mean, you've got a team, you consult with them, the pain, the feeling, the outcome of your performance at the moment is obviously lagging. How do you figure out what the plan is going forward? Take the rest of the season off, take 4 weeks off. Talk me through the injury phase.
Look, the pain was getting so much that I couldn't swing a club in my garage. So then the sign is written on the board that you're not going to go play at a high level competitive. So that was an easy decision to make regarding I'm not going to play for a while. But the biggest worry to me was what was it? Is to figure out identifying what's the fault, and then once you've identified, to get a plan and how to fix it. Sure. So the problem with mine was that to identify took so long. With the physios, the pain was reflecting in the wrist, but it wasn't actually coming from the wrist. After numerous scans, the wrist structure was actually absolutely perfect. So, which was a great sign for me. I wasn't looking forward to having an operation, but I was having a lot of nerve problems, and it actually came from my elbow.
Okay.
So also down the neck, but the elbow is where it came from, and that took a while. And the thing with me is when the injury started was so late in the season that I had to decide. There's various ways of medicals that we take. So I decided to take the long-term medical, just because I wasn't sure exactly when I was going to come back and the severity of the injury. So it ended up being that I was going to be out for 4 months. And actually, when I came back after 4 months, because of my ranking, it went down. There wasn't a lot of tournaments for me to play in, so I decided to start at Leopard Creek, where I've had good success.
Yeah, you've mentioned that as one of your favorite courses. Okay, so now you in this downtime. I mean, there's obviously an opportunity for you to think a bit about where you've been, what's happened, ups and downs in the career, but also you still have your team. So let's talk a bit about the mental aspect and the team involvement in this. What does Team Charl Schwartzel look like? I presume you've got a trainer and a physio, etc., etc. Who's in your camp, and what roles do they play?
Yeah, I've got a physio, trainer, nutritionist, all in one. Al Cornell, he's been with me, 12 years. He's the longest standing team member that I've got, I suppose. I've got my caddy that has been with me for almost 2 years. Gary, he lives in Dallas, South African guy that lives in Dallas. Got my managers that surround me, and then you've got your swing coach or swing advisor, however you want to call them. and that pretty much makes up your team. Your family as support, which, in this game, can become quite, as much as you're in the spotlight, as lonely as it can be. But people don't see the ups and downs as much as what we live it in. But yeah, you got to, that's your core of your team that pushes you, and everybody plays their role. With one of the links missing, it makes it harder for me to perform to a top level.
Oh, sure. Now, I mean, a couple of key things that you mentioned there makes me start thinking about some more questions. So, the nutritionist and physio all in one. Obviously, there's a special relationship to walk a 12-year journey with you. But the caddy is also a very special relationship. Now, I'm sure there's a whole bunch going on behind the scenes with the caddy, more than what meets the eye, certainly. But just general public watching on the TV, watching you play golf. Tell me a little bit about this caddy relationship. What is the role of the caddy? Is he your wingman out there on the coalface?
I'm telling you, I think a caddy is very underrated in what their job description is. People think it's carry the bag and clean the clubs and get a yardage. That's just the basic core of it at the end of the day. They play a huge part in decision making and the mental side of it. And the caddy, the longer you've got a caddy, the better he understands you, the better decisions he can make, because it's a fine line for him to step in if I already know that I'm going to do. Then he can only confuse me. But he needs to be able to read me where if he sees I'm hesitant, he must be able to step in and talk about it and sort of identify that I'm hesitant about it and clarify and create a picture of what we're going to do. Because without a good picture of what shot I want to hit, the chances of a successful result become so much less. So I need to have a really good picture of what shot I'm going to hit, and it doesn't happen often. I would say 13 out of the 18 holes I sort of know what I'm going to do, but there's those 5 holes where you get in between yardages, or the wind's changing, or it's a flag position that you don't like so much, and he'll be able to see, like Gary can see when I'm hesitant of what I'm now about to do, and that's when he needs to step in, and that is huge. If he steps in there and I hit a good shot, that saves me. That could save me 2 shots around.
Okay. All right. So now you mentioned that he will step in. So is it incumbent on your caddy? Obviously, you've got to build that relationship up, but he must recognize the body language or just the way you're walking, you're speaking, even maybe just the way you've exhaled very hard. He'll recognize now's the time to step in. And then when you're in that moment, you recognize the way he approaches you. Or do you have some key words, or what is the communication like when he's about to sort of assert himself on these 5 holes that you talked about?
Yeah, I mean, it's normally the way it's after you've done the basics, after he's given me the yardage and the club, and if I'm about to pull the club, I'd sort of hesitate, and that's the first sign. Hesitation is the first sign of a guy being not sure, and not confident in what he's about to do. Because normally, if I know what I'm doing, he'll give me that, and I'll just pull the club without even saying anything. It's a sign of I know exactly what I'm doing. But once I pull and put it back, there's a correlation of he's not quite sure what he's about to do. So, and it's funny though. I've spoken with him about it a lot. And the guys that are good at caddying and in those situations actually have got a way of asking questions so that I answer my own questions. So it's a way for me to talk myself into a picture of what I'm about to do. Sure. Not because it doesn't help him having a clear picture. He's not hitting the shot. It doesn't help you if your co-pilot has got the perfect picture and you got the controls at your hands. You don't actually know what to do. Yeah. That it's the wrong way around, you know. So he needs to talk it into your head so that you create the picture. And the best way to do it is normally for you yourself to start talking, because you do have the answers and you do have the feelings. It's just give me the different scenarios.
Yeah, you got to sort of build the picture in your head. I like that concept. Now, okay, so this caddy relationship is very special, and I'm sure it's quite obvious to see in the media, etc., that the long-term caddy relationship with various golfers. So tell me the difference between this sort of on the day, he's with you in the trenches, whereas your other support team that are also very important aren't necessarily, they're not walking the course with you. Or I don't know, maybe they are walking the course with you and you just don't see them. They're walking a few paces back. But why is it that you would have one team member that would last more than a decade and another team member that would be changed after 2 or 3 years? Do people have different objectives and they move on? Is there a fallout? Or how is it that you end up changing caddies when there's such a critical role? Do you look for something more?
I think no. So I think what happens is it's, you know, you see your caddy more than what you see your wife. So if you know, things get scratchy. He doesn't. You feel like he's not identifying the problems, and you accumulate faults over time, and eventually you just get fed up with it. You know, and from both sides, you know, you're not. There's no more. There's no excitement. You don't. You know, you don't talk about. You know, you can only concentrate for the 2 minutes that you hit the ball. If you have to concentrate for 5 hours at a time, you'll be.
Yeah.
You know, you'll be exhausted. So there's a fine line about doing your work on those 2 minutes or 3 minutes that you're discussing, and then having something to talk about for the time in between you walking about something random. I mean, flying or whatever you bright, you know, whatever you can think of.
Yeah.
And sometimes those discussions just get stale. You know, you don't have stuff to talk about, and then it's a good time to change, you know, and everybody, the caddies also understand it. It's a mutual understanding, and you can feel it coming.
Okay.
I suppose like a relationship, you can feel that there's tension or something that's not supposed to be.
When I think I don't know if your earphones are still working. As the sound has changed a bit there, but I got that last bit. You get to a point where, you know, you've swept up enough stuff under the rug. The rug is now piling up to the roof, and it's time for something else. Oh man. Okay, while Charles just busy getting his earpieces back out, I'm going to put up this little video clip, a Masters moment.
This is a Masters moment. 2011. In one of the wildest finishes in recent Masters memory, 8 players held a share of the lead Sunday, including Rory McIlroy, who entered the final round with a 4-shot lead. But the 21-year-old found trouble on the second 9 and saw his lead dissipate. Meanwhile, in just his second appearance, Charl Schwartzel became the first Masters champion to birdie the final 4 holes, winning by 2 for his first green jacket.
Oh, there, nice Masters moment for you. I saw you busy plugging in your other headset. Are you back up and running there? Okay, while you finish that, I'm going to put this other clip up, and
There we go.
Are you there?
Back.
Okay, let's see. Crossover.
Yeah, I'm back. Yeah. Sorry about that. I don't know why they're cutting that.
Yeah, no problem. Okay, the picture's just frozen. Tell you what, we're going to play this shot quickly, and then we can discuss the background to this. There's a caddy relationship in here too, standing off to the side.
This is
The road shot.
This is definitely a time that one swings back and then swallows through.
Could be some sparks here. All right, wonderfully clean contact.
Can you believe it?
Ah, no.
No. Is that possible?
That's a stunning shot from Schwartzel.
I think you could look for a stronger word. Is that his pitch right next to the hole?
Is that the
Yeah.
pitch mark? You
I
nearly
think so.
hold it from off the road. Well, even if it's not that, if it's the other ball, no, it does. It's not. It's because Brett Rumford's walking towards the other ball, so that is Schwartzel's. What a recovery shot that is!
I'm completely stunned.
Oh, Charl, showing you that you've mentioned that as one of your favorite shots. They're playing in Durban. So how much of that was your decision and how much of that was the caddy coming in there? Looks like it must have been all smiles arriving at the pin, seeing how close the ball landed.
Yeah, look, it's quite an amazing feeling when things come together, and especially shots like those. Funny, that day I was just lucky that there was clouds in the sky, because the only reference that I had was a puff of a cloud sitting, and trying to determine where the hole was. We were walking 60 yards to the left to be able to see the flag, and then sort of keeping the cloud above the flag and sort of keeping a line, just to have a rough idea of where the flag might be. And I said to Glenn, was skating for this, I said to him, the wind's blowing, the cloud's moving, so we've got to factor in this cloud that's moving. And
oh man,
yeah, it's just those are just one of those shots that
it just worked out well.
Yeah, you don't want it over again. Please believe me.
And okay, so let's take it into the sky now. You got involved in flying, and not only fixing but helicopters. Now, do you think there's some correlation with the fine motor control required of your golf swing, and particularly if you have to shape the ball with that fine motor requirement of operating the cyclic and on a helicopter?
Yeah, I mean, golf is all about feel. The better feel you've got around, especially around the greens and on the green, the better you are at it. And definitely, flying has got the same thing. The guys that you fly with that fly well, you can see they've just got they're sort of at one with the airplane or the helicopter, and they got such good feel. So, yeah, I guess it helped me become a decent pilot.
Okay,
I'm not as good as you guys, but I love flying.
Well, we have so you're now busy with your commercial pilot license, with this sort of slowdown of golf, etc. You're saying now you take an opportunity to get into the books, and what's the aim there? Is it just to upskill yourself a little bit?
Yeah, I was asking myself the same question the other day. So why are you doing this? And yeah, you know what? It's just a personal goal, I suppose, for myself to improve in another aspect that I do. About 2 years ago, I did my instrument rating, and I just thought, this even if I don't use it, it can only make me a better pilot, and it's something that I enjoy. Just to learn more about being better at something, and I guess that's for all of us. It's the same. Whether it's at my golf, I'm always trying to improve. Even if I'm at the highest level, you looking for things to make you a little bit better. You guys that have flown everything from aerobatics to Boeings into JFK and stuff like that. You're always looking for something to get better. You're never too old to learn. So for me, this is just a nice way of spending my isolation time. I couldn't play golf, so it was a good opportunity for me to improve my flying.
Okay, I know you've just passed one of your exams recently, so preparing for the oral preparation. But you've proven to the world that you've got the BMT, so I don't think you'll have struggle with it. Now, in terms of bettering yourself, are there any kind of books that you like to read to improve your game too? There's a great book. I came across a podcast this week. Tim Ferriss Show is a great. It's a very deep dive into lots of different topics, and he was interviewing Michael Lewis, the famous author, and brought up a book which was developed or written in the 70s about improving your golf. I mean, not your golf, your tennis. Sorry, the inner game of tennis. Timothy Galway, and the example in it was that this coach was deemed to be such a great coach, but it was all about the mental side of things. And it was the story was that the story was that. Oh, hang on, are you there, Charl? I lost you.
Yeah, sorry, Alex, my stuff went off again.
No problem. Okay, I can hear you again. So anyway, the story of the coach working with the players, being a mental coach more than anything else. He was brought in to the orchestra as an example, and they said, look, he's a tennis coach, but he's written this great book. Let's see what he can do. And he sat with these musicians, and within about, they asked the musicians, who here do you think can you make use of his services and improve their performance today? And the one tuba player stuck his hand up and said, "Oh, that's me. Give me a go." And within 10 minutes, this man was playing a great piece. But the cherry on the top was that this coach, Tim Galway, he helped this player play a better piece, but he actually couldn't tell the difference between the bad piece and the better piece now. But the rest of the orchestra could hear it. So there's a long roundabout way of asking you, what type of books and sort of extra reading do you do to help yourself on any side of the game, mental or physical side of the game?
Don't necessarily read a lot of books. I search a lot of things online though. Whether it's YouTube clips or I look at a lot of play from the older generation guys, Nicholas, Gary, even Greg Norman, Nick Price, the guys a little bit further back than I was, to see what they did and listen to a lot of their interviews, the way that they think. So I don't read a lot of books, but I do research a lot of things online for various little things.
Okay. Well, I mean, that's just to get into the inside, you can hear the way they're describing a course or the way I play. I'm sure there's some insights that you will pick out that the average person won't. And so there's thousands and thousands of, tens of thousands of golf courses around the world. They each have their own pros. What is the difference between a golf pro at the golf course level and the tour pros, or the 800 odd tour pros that are playing on the top leagues? What is the essential difference between someone who goes all the way to play as a career and the person who is a tournament, a golf pro at a golf course?
It's very small. It's small but very big. Yeah, it's I don't know. I had a friend of mine that played golf with me. He was as good as us, and he stopped. And he's successful in business now. But I think at the end of the day, you need to have been blessed with a certain skill, and you must be able to work at it to make it better, and not believe that you can sit back and that's enough. So it's that's a question that can go on for a long time. There's so many opinions, and I don't always know if we can come to the exact answer to that one.
Okay, we'll leave it at that for another conversation. But we have something in common, and a couple of things in common actually. We were both given some instruction to fly a Pilatus by Colin Coombs, and another thing in common is that we were both attempting to host a TV show. So I want to put a little clip of you hosting a TV show here too with your good friend Louis.
Welcome here to Dubai. It's been a pretty awesome day. We had some good play on the golf course, and I think it's about to get better. I'm going to take my good friend Louis back to the hotel here, and we invite you guys to maybe join us in this.
I'll definitely get in the chopper with him again. He's a good pilot. It's as good as a machine as you can fly in, and it's really fun to fly around here.
Nice helicopter there.
Yeah, so a good day out golf and a good day flying. Tell us about some of your memorable flying experiences with your family, with your friends, just fun days out there. I know fixed wing and helicopters. Excuse me, what stands out for you in your flying career so far?
Well, I think the things a pilot sees is from the front there is really priceless. You know, the freedom that I feel when I fly. You know, I fly. Most of my flying has really been for recreation, it's for fun. You know, I've never done it for a career like you guys, but and I've had unbelievable times in the helicopter. I've had unbelievable times training in the PC-12 with Colin. That was some of my best times I've had. We've done unbelievable things. And another guy that you know, Andre Kutsia, he was the one that taught me to fly helicopters. And you know, to see someone like that's the difference. Like I'm pretty good at flying, but then you get guys like you and Colin and Andre that are really good at what they do, and then there's just there's a difference. You know, and what's the difference? It's hard to describe what the difference is, but there's a difference. It's experience.
I see you're turning my question back on me. Well, Charl, it's been wonderful having this conversation with you. I know you're off to go and do some flying now after we finish talking here. Thank you very much for your time this morning. I appreciate it, and all the best in 4 weeks' time when you get back out there. And have you got another major in you, Charl?
Definitely.
Okay, we look forward to following you. Thanks once again. I appreciate it.
Thank you. Thanks, Alex.
Well, thanks, everybody. Thanks for joining the show. Please remember to subscribe and share with somebody who might be interested in the show. Until next time, stay safe.